Sponsored by
RKDF University.
The Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump yet again stirred controversy on Tuesday after he repeated his stance that the United Nations would defend the NATO military alliance members from the attacks by Russia only if the European NATO members spent more on defense. Trump had made similar comments earlier in February while also encouraging Russia to do whatever it deems correct if NATO members fail to pay the US for protection.
Yeah, but the United States should pay its fair share, not everybody else's fair share.
No, fair enough.
I believe the United States was paying 90% of NATO, the cost of NATO. It could be 100%.
Yep.
It was the most unfair thing. And don't forget, it's more important to them than it is to us. We have an ocean in between some problems, okay? We have a nice, big, beautiful ocean.
Trump reiterated the comments against NATO during an interview with Britain's GB News, which had last month triggered a heated debate. Trump's controversial remarks were not only condemned by the White House and NATO, but members from his own party too slammed the front-runner Republican candidate.
Presidents of a big country stood up and said, well, sir, if we don't pay and we're attacked by Russia, will you protect us? I said, you didn't pay? You're delinquent? He said, yes, let's say that happened. No, I would not protect you. In fact, I would encourage them to do whatever the hell they want.
Trump has often criticized the lack of adherence by numerous NATO members to the defense spending guideline of allocating at least 2% of their gross domestic product. Notably, the United States military constitutes the central component of the alliance's military capability, while only 11 members are meeting the specified spending criteria, according to the NATO estimates. Soon after Trump's comments that he had made in February, NATO chief Jens Stoltenberg urged the 80 NATO allies to mandate reach the spending target this year. Trump maintained in the interview that he does not bother if the rival politicians use these remarks against him in the run-up to the November presidential election. It is believed that the comment by Trump came to target his Democrat rival Joe Biden, with whom he is poised for a rematch, as he is a staunch supporter of NATO. Trump questioned why should the US pay for most of NATO and guard the NATO countries which possess a lot of money. In addition, Trump also asserted in the interview that if the NATO allies started to pay properly and as per the mandate set up by NATO, then of course the US would 100% safeguard these nations from any threats.
So if they play fair, if they start to play fair, America's there.
Yes, 100%.
Meanwhile, the Republican presidential candidate also defended his remark that there would be a bloodbath if he isn't elected, saying that it is applied to the American auto industry. For the unversed, a couple of days ago, Trump stated that the US would witness a bloodbath if he didn't win the US presidency, adding that it would also mean that America would not see another election henceforth.
It happens all the time. So bloodbath, talking about it's going to be a bloodbath in the auto industry because we're going to lose our whole industry because this guy's going to all electric cars and they're made in China. That's where the material is. That's where the minerals are. That's where everything is. They're going to all be made in China. And they want to go all electric cars. One of the dumbest, they don't go far, they cost too much, et cetera, et cetera. And if you want electric, you can get electric, but you've got to have other forms of propulsion. And we're going to have that. We're going to have gasoline. We have more gasoline than any country in the world, meaning oil and gas. And we have it, and they don't want us to use it. You figure that one out. So the electric mandate's going to destroy the auto industry. And I said, it's going to be a bloodbath. It's going to be a terrible bloodbath for the auto industry.
Meanwhile, when asked about the migration policy if he gains the presidency, Trump asserted that he would immediately deport the migrants who illegally crossed the US-Mexico border. Pertinently, Trump and the Republican-backed Texas border law that would allow law enforcement authorities to arrest people suspected of illegally crossing the US-Mexico border was blocked again by an appeals court on Wednesday. The decision came just hours after the US Supreme Court had cleared the way for it to go into effect.
We had the best border we've ever had. Now we have the worst border in the history of the country.
How do you get it back? What are you going to do to stop this?
Very much like I did the first time. We're going to drill, baby, drill. We're going to close up the borders. We're going to come in. You can come into the country, but you have to come in legally.